All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Sam Mellinger. I am here joined by former beat writer. I'm just kidding. Current beat writer, Andy McCullough.
Still on the payroll.
This is the Royals podcast version of the Sports Beat KC. That is the name of this show that we're doing here. And we are here to talk about some Royals, world champion Royals. Isn't that right, Andy?
Does my salary count against the 2015 payroll or the 2016 payroll?
Well, the thing is, we didn't make that much money as you might think in 2015, even with the playoff run. So it's
actually true.
It's all liquid.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Budgeting.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about finances today, Sam.
A little bit, yeah.
Because that's what's on everyone's mind. And, yeah, it's we just got back from the winter meetings.
Well, you did.
I did, yeah. I don't know where you were doing something great, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Chiefs won, so that's cool. I watched that game. I watched that game, yeah, man. Football is bad. Gosh, football is a really boring sport. Yeah, so the Royals were at the winter meetings for a week. They actually, accomplished a fair bit of business. You know, they signed a starter. They signed a reliever to a pretty sizable contract, and but I think there's still a sense among fans that they haven't done a lot. And you wrote this on Sunday. They're returning six of the nine
position
players
plus the DH. So 6 of the 9 batting order spots.
Right. A good chunk of the pitching staff.
Yeah.
I think the reason that folks are maybe underwhelmed is because both of these names are familiar, and that's Chris Young, who they saw this past year, who was very good for them on a sort of limited basis and kind of a weird hybrid role that he may go back to this year, but probably won't. And then Joakim Soria, who had been the closer, back in the bad old days and was very good, and now is kind of good again, but more of a seventh inning setup type guy. So I think there's a sense of that it's underwhelming what they did, but they added $12.75 million in payroll for next year, which is a sizable chunk of what they had to spend, and so that's a good portion of their offseason right there.
Yeah, I think it's because they haven't added anybody really new, because you feel like Soria, in effect, kind of replaces Greg Holland, I guess. If Wade Davis was always going to be the closer, now Soria is just another, sort of back end of the bullpen.
Too,
yeah, Madsen. Yeah, that's probably the better example. He replaces Madsen, and Chris Young is a guy that we saw, and then it's the Alex Gordon stuff that's kind of hanging over everybody's head. So on a scale of from 0 to 1% chance, how likely is it that the Royals sign Alex Gordon?
Yeah, I mean, they are not believed to be active players in his market.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just, and again, here's the problem with trying to report on Alex Gordon's market. The Royals don't talk about it, as a rule. They don't talk about who they're in on. And Casey Close, his agent, does not talk about who's in the mix. He just does
famously just mute.
It does Ken Rosenthal wrote this great story about the Zach Greinke signing. I don't know if you read that the other day, but it was a TikTok. And one of the few people who declined to be interviewed for it was Casey Close, who's Greinke's agent. And Casey Close declined to be interviewed for a story that would have explained how he got his client $206 million in 5 hours.
Yeah.
So he's a very good agent, and he's also not particularly helpful to the press. So Gordon.
So he sounds like a terrible agent to me.
Well, for us, for our purposes,
that's exactly what I mean. That's
for
what
our
matters.
purposes, yes, he's the worst.
But I would
of the
want
worst.
him to be my agent.
Yeah. But so Gordon's market is something of a mystery, partially because of that, partially because there's not many leaks in what's going on, and partially because he's kind of in the back of the queue behind guys like Upton and Cespedes even now. There's kind of maybe a thought that Cespedes is in his own sort of area because he's looking for different sort of stuff. But he was believed to be behind Hayward and Upton. Hayward's now signed for some goofy contract with the Cubs, where he can go, hit have a 108 OPS plus every year, and everyone can say how great he is because of defensive metrics, even though he can't hit lefties. I love baseball. I just love it. But whatever. Hayward makes the team better. So they're just kind of waiting to to see where that plays out. And the Royals are just not believed to be active members of it. I mean, they haven't given much, like I asked Dayton Moore, like, do you feel like your budget has enough money right now to make a contract offer that Alex Gordon would accept? And if you ask like 29 other GMs, the answer to that question, even if it's not true, it's just yes, absolutely. And he said, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so like I think their plan A all along was to try and get Gordon and Zobrist, right? But I think they pivoted off plan A like 3 days into the offseason probably, and now they're kind of looking for the more affordable stuff.
The day after the parade,
right? Right. Like as soon as he got in his car and drove to Omaha.
I've had this thought that like, tell me what you think about this. And this is like kind of speculation. I'm reading between the lines a little bit, but I've had the feeling that the Royals hope that Alex gets this enormous contract offer that they can't, so that they're sort of off the hook, because if he gets a 4 or 5 year contract, somebody's going to regret, the team is going to regret that last year, 2 of that contract. And the Royals, no matter what, and their horrendous TV contract has 4 more years on it, so they can probably renegotiate like in 2. So there's more money coming like way down the road,
right?
But they still have 4 years of a fraction of their market value coming in, and they just don't have room to be paying a guy who's going to be 36 at that point,
right,
and is already showing signs of durability issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to talk negatively about Alex Gordon, I think, as a player, because he really is like, when Ned Yost calls him like the perfect player, like I think he means it, like not as like a on the field so much, but he is everything you'd want in a baseball player. Cares about every aspect of his game, is in fantastic shape, like committed to his craft, like lives right, doesn't really have a ton of vices that, get him into any sort of trouble, is a leader in the clubhouse, sets an example, all those sorts of things. So like he is like a great sort of person and for baseball or whatever, but he is still a baseball player, and so he's subject to the things that happen to baseball players as they get older. He's going to be 32. He may already be 32. I know this is going to
turns 32 in February.
Yeah, this will be his age 32 season. He injured his wrist really badly last year and dealt with that for most of the second half. He wasn't particularly effective in the 2014 playoffs. He underwent wrist surgery, which slowed him up coming into this year. He nearly blew out his groin, in July, and that cost him 2 months, and that could have cost him the rest of the year. I mean, that was a really severe strain he underwent, and when he came back, he was not the same defensively. He did not have the same sort of like instinctual ability to not give a crap about himself, like diving into the stands and, all that sort of stuff that makes him so special. And so you wonder, like, there's this idea that his defense will continue to be really, really valuable as he ages. But most players, like when they hit this age, things start to go wrong. They start to have the minor injuries that affect them. They get thumb stuff that takes away their power. They get wrist stuff that takes away their power. They get minor leg injuries that take away their speed. And when you're a player like Gordon, who does not have one incredible tool, who kind of relies on everything. Like he's not a particularly like speedy defender.
Sure.
He's got a good arm. But a lot of it's positioning, timing, and all that sort of stuff. Like as the chain breaks down in his body, his value is gonna decrease. And so he had a good year this year, but he really struggled after he came off the DL in September.
Yeah, his numbers, his production
was
front
way
loaded.
down. And like you could say, like, well, he missed time, and so it's hard to get his timing back. It's like, no, like that's part of the equation. You don't get extra credit for getting hurt. Like it's actually the other way.
Right,
you get like it hurts your case even more. And so. There's a lot of baseball reasons why the Royals maybe shouldn't sign Alex Gordon to a 5-year deal or something like that.
It's funny because like he really is. I love that description that Ned used about he's the perfect ball player too. I think a lot of that is also like his attitude and just the way that so steady. Like in baseball is brutal grind, and you're going to go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, and you've got to get past that. And I really think people make a case for Carlos Beltran, and this is a position I will stand on and talk openly and loudly about. I think Alex Gordon is the best Royals player since George Brett. I think he's had a longer career with the Royals, and actually a higher peak if you look at WAR and some things like that than Carlos Beltran. He changed the franchise. And
is that non-pitchers?
Yeah, I mean, there's a good argument for Kevin Appier.
I was going to say Guthrie.
I think aren't the Dodgers in on Guthrie?
No, it's this guy named Guthrie Jones, so I just heard of. I don't know which
Guthrie
is that right? You're thinking of.
I think game one against
Guthrie. Oh, boy.
I'd be so happy.
You guys still have an opening? Anyway,
if game one against Familia is this legendary moment for Alex Gordon, and number 4 will be retired. I really think that at some point, but maybe that's too far. He'll be in the Royals Hall of Fame for sure, and I think has the best case for a number to be retired in a long time. All that said, what's that?
Ned.
Oh yeah, God, Ned's gonna have is Ned gonna have his number retired?
Yeah, it's gonna be hilarious.
God, I just made a sharp left turn here. I guess there's a really good argument. Isn't there?
He's the winningest manager in franchise history.
Yeah.
He's got 2 pennants.
God, and the other guy that won a World Series.
Yeah, I mean, they will retire his number.
Yeah.
I think like 100%.
Yeah. That'll be awesome.
Man, that's going to be great. What a great day that'll be. I hope they do that like on opening day. Like they just retire his number. That'd be fantastic.
And then let him manage the game.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Man, where were we?
Gordon's a really good player. He's not going to sign with the Royals.
Yeah,
et cetera, et cetera.
There is a case to be made about the Royals like trying to transition into some younger players. I mean, I think that's a case that the Royals make because they can't sign because they can't boost their payroll. Can't is a relative term. That it's not in the budget that they're given from the owner. But they can, right? Like, can we just say that? Like, they could spend a lot. They could have $150 million payroll.
It's not, and we're not privy to what their internal finances are, but there's a sense that pretty much any team in the game could sign anyone they want if they were willing to not care about having a budget.
Yeah,
like they can. This idea of what they can and can't afford is relative to what they are, the direction they're given by ownership, and the ownership sets their budget and says this is how much you can spend, and this is where you go from there. So
and it's a hard thing too because like it's a business.
Yeah,
like the Royals are a business.
Yep.
And it's hard to like criticize the owner of that business for not losing money. You know what I mean?
It's hard it's hard for us to say we understand what's best for the Royals better than David Glass.
Yeah,
I guess because David Glass is a billionaire who's been very successful in business, and so obviously, they're making these decisions based on a lot of different, a lot of thought. And the payroll has risen every season, steadily, and it's probably going to go up again. Although I think, I guess you get into the issue though of like, okay, so it was like $75 million in 13 or something like that, or like 80. How much was it in 2013?
70 something sounds about right.
And then
about
it jumped
80.
to like 94.
It was like in the night. I thought it was like 90, 92.
Yeah, okay. Like in 14, and then last year was 113.
20% jump. Yeah.
So, but so you get to the point. It's like, okay, so in 3 years is it going to be 170? And they're saying no, because the reason that these salaries keep jumping is the ARB guys. Yeah. The young core are putting up. So like, that 120, 130 area, that might be kind of their break point of like, we do not want to go any higher than this. And that kind of raises the question like, okay, so if you had to rank in order of most likely to least likely of who are the 4 2017 guys they were going to re-sign to a long-term extension, how would you rank them?
Well, like, can I have nobody first?
No, you can, because the least likely is Hosmer.
Yes.
Okay, and so
I think by a long way.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way. Because he'll be, what, 28?
Sounds about right. I think he was 21, 22 when he came up. So, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I just feel like
he'll do well for himself.
Yeah, I think he's
on
gone.
the free agent market. Okay, so yeah, I mean, okay, so say the most likely answer is nobody. But then,
I believe that. Yeah,
I believe that as well.
Yeah,
but then
I
do
would take
the
0.
power rankings.
All right, so Haas is 4. I'm gonna go Moose 1. No,
Okay.
I'm gonna go Kane 1.
Right.
I'm gonna go Kane, Moose, Escobar, Hosmer, because with Escobar, I feel like, and I know people like the Boris thing is out there, right? But I feel like Escobar might feel like I already signed one of those deals.
Right.
I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. I think there will definitely be that sentiment, and I also think I'll be interested to see what Alcides Escobar looks like in 2 years as a player. As his body ages, and because
dude is playing a lot of baseball.
Well, he had a great postseason. I mean, he played incredible in October, but during the regular season, he was not very good.
No,
I mean, his speed
terrible.
was down. The hitting was pretty unproductive. So I'll be curious to see what he does this coming year. And also, you have Raul Mondesi. So I think that the team will probably sour on Escobar more than he might. And also, he's going to be probably like a 3-time All-Star by then, the way the voting trends are going with the Royals fans taking over everything. So that'll increase his price. I think Kane is probably the most likely, and even he's pretty unlikely because if you're Lorenzo Kane and you're looking at what you should be making per year, you should be looking at something like between what Jason Hayward's getting in AAV and what Alex Gordon's getting in AAV. And it's going to be pretty high. And so the Royals are going to, at some point have to decide, like, what player are we going to pay $15 million to in 2020? And I think, that – and I don't even think that would be enough necessarily to get Kane because, like, Kane is –
He was 3rd in the MVP voting.
Yeah,
Trout, Donaldson.
He's a great player.
Kane, yeah.
I think also, like, he based on, like, conversations with him and knowing his – personality, like he's fairly financially stable, like he's not like all he does is play video games and hang out with his kid,
right.
Like he does, so like he doesn't have like a really extravagant lifestyle, like he still wears like jeans that are too baggy, like stuff like that. Great guy though. No, but like he's like not like a like a limo riding, jet flying type guy. I think like he's perfectly fine making 2 million this year, making 5 next year, making
it's good money
80 year after that, and then just roll. It's not like he needs that they could get him on a hometown discount or anything.
And the other part that too, like I feel like there's going to be conflict in that negotiation too because he turned 30, right? Or he's about to turn 30. Yep. So if you're looking to pay him in you just brought up 2020, so he'll be 35.
Yeah.
Like what salary do you want to give a guy who's had injury? And I know he's worked really, really hard to address those injury problems, but his legs don't have a great history. And I don't know. Do you want to pay that guy who's 34?
No, probably
35?
not. That's why even the most likely guy in that group, you're not going to sign.
Yeah.
And I think Moustakas might be the player who, above all, wants to remain a Royal for as long as possible, but. Again, like his agent is Scott Boras. He, is going to probably be taken to the market, and he's going to, probably get a bigger offer. And the Royals have to decide, like, is this the guy we want to pay when he's 33, 34, 35? Because I don't think any of those guys are going to take like 2-year deals tacked on, to buying out their ARB years. That just doesn't make sense for any of them.
Yeah.
So it's. But if you're the Royals, I guess their argument is they want to keep sort of kicking the can down the road and maintaining the flexibility so they're not priced out if something changes. If Eric Hosmer says, this is where I want to spend the rest of my career and let's do a 5-year deal for $50 million or something like that,
Well, the thing with Moose, I don't think Boris wanted him to sign that deal when he got drafted. I think they gave him 4, and I think Boris didn't like that deal, but Moose just wanted to play professional baseball. But,
right.
I could see what you just said. I think is absolutely true of those guys. Like Moose might be the one that like most wants to stay in Kansas City. But if all those other things happen and Haas is gone,
right?
Right. Like who's he staying for?
This is a group of guys. This is a group of players who really care deeply about each other and are really, really. There's a lot of what's the word? I mean, it's not chemistry, but just they're very much like they're all in the boat rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
But the things that are going to happen to them in the coming years is they're going to start to see. They're going to start to fight with the team over money.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start to see, and they've seen this already in some ways, but they're going to start to see some of their friends traded.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start to bump up against the business aspect of it in a way that they haven't yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, so some of the attitudes the players have now will change as they get older. That's a standard sort of thing. I mean, you just, they're going to come to find that the team doesn't always have financially, the team doesn't always have their best interest at heart. The team is a business and it's competing with them for money.
I absolutely because their experience, those guys, their experience with the team so far is they've won a bunch of championships or whatever in the minor leagues,
right?
And they have those memories that you and I, because we've talked about this, that we have of college,
right.
of remember that crappy apartment and how much fun that was and all that stuff. They have those memories, and now they have a championship together.
Right.
But now they're going to sit in an arbitration room,
right,
and hear crap talked.
Hosmer's already been driving to the airport to go have to fly to Tampa, to do that. I mean, they've already started to bump up against the realities of the business, and that changes kind of how players feel about certain things. And that's a subtle thing that happens over time, but as you become a veteran and you get a little you just become a little more, I don't know if it's cynical or clinical, more, I don't know which word is better, but you just become more understanding that the team is a business, and if you're a useful part of that business at their price, they're going to want you around for as long as possible. And that's totally divorced from the sentiment that Dayton Moore has with players. Dayton loves those guys.
Mm-hmm.
He has a genuine affinity for Alex Gordon, but I think both parties understand why they're probably not going to be together next year.
Yeah. I mean, you're together as long as it makes financial sense for both sides.
Right.
And once one of those, it's like any other business, any of us are employed by our employers as long as it makes sense for both sides. But
is that a subtweet?
Not everything I say is about you, Andy.
That's true. Most of it.
So what do you think what they'll do about what do you think they will do? What do you think they should do about left field?
Well, they got Carl Crawford. And
the Royals
here can slide over there.
Right. This is good.
I'm just.
Do they like Yasiel Puig? Can we talk about that? Should we?
They went from saying we need to get 2 corner outfielders to spending 2 days at the winter meetings, and then they were like, Gerard Dyson.
We like Dyson.
And then to the last day of the winter meetings going, we'll play Paulo Orlando out there.
Yeah, we'll have a really good defense.
I think the Royals left the winter meetings more than a little annoyed with some of the demands that free agents were getting, and I think that's a yearly exercise for a lot of teams. But
mm-hmm.
they were their evaluations of certain players versus what players perceive themselves as worth. There was a big gap there, so there was some frustration. So what could they do in left field? I mean, I think it was Jerry Krasnick had mentioned they'd talked to the Rockies.
About Fowler.
Fowler's a free agent. Cargo,
right.
I think Blackman and Dickerson.
Yeah.
I mean, Gonzalez is an interesting player, but you're talking about a guy with a pretty sizable injury history. It's unclear if he's either a 75% product of Coors Field or 100% product of Coors Field. So that's a big risk, and plus you got to give up a decent amount. If you're talking about making a trade with the Royals, like trading for Todd Frazier to play left field, what are you going to trade if you're the Royals? Build a package that the Reds will accept.
Yeah, I don't even have the energy to do that because it's just that's not going to happen.
Because it's because it starts Raul Mondesi.
We like Mondesi, yes, and the Royals say we like him too.
Yeah, we like Kyle Zimmer. No,
right.
No, we like it's Miguel Almonte. Okay, well we'll do that. No, we need more than that.
Yeah.
Or what more do you need? It's it's hard to build a package. They don't have a ton to trade.
No, they traded some guys.
Yeah, they did.
In July.
They won a World Series.
They did. It was a good decision.
That's part of what happens. That it's their farm system's all right, but they don't have a ton to deal that is really going to appeal to people. And are you going to trade Danny Duffy? You could maybe, but Danny Duffy's value is pretty low.
Right. Right.
And what are you going to get back that's could be as good as Danny Duffy, I guess.
Yeah.
Either as a reliever or as a starter. That's hard. So
I feel like we're headed to Denard Span City.
I think Span might be out of their price range.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Parra might be out of their price range. I think it, might be like a Austin Jackson type. Travis Snyder. Just someone who can catch the baseball and isn't a total sinkhole out there in left, and really like just hope that maybe Brett Eibner or Bubba Starling are ready by midseason or ready to contribute.
That seems awfully quick, especially for Bubba.
For Eibner, it's not. Eibner's like 27.
But for Bubba, from where Bubba's been, he can defend right away,
yes.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Talking to scouts who've seen him in the past year, feel like he's really made strides and really turned around. Like I've had guys who gave me reports 2 years ago of like, this guy is a train wreck.
Yeah.
Saying this year, being like, I like him.
Yeah.
Like almost apologetic that they were so vociferous and crushing him last year. And so, there was like a sentiment, among like rival scouts, like, hey, look, like there's a lot of holes in the swing. There's a lot of work to do offensively, but the guy really turned a corner and has a better approach. And the Royals will say this: they feel like when it clicks for him, it'll click quickly.
When they drafted him, that's what they thought, like, this may be a bust. You know, I mean, they would talk about that. Like, we may have just drafted a guy that'll never play in the big leagues, but if he does, he might struggle, because I mean, he was playing in not even the Sunflower League, right? Was it the EKL, or I don't even know what Gardner Edgerton's in.
Can we hear you on the podcast, Chris?
A little bit, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Chris Fickett.
Those are the smooth tones of Chris Fickett,
dulcet tones.
Fact checker. He was playing like 20 games a year, 20 high school games a year.
Right.
And then also, in his spare time, being a 5-star quarterback recruit or whatever. Who Bill Self said could have been a Division I basketball player as well. But anyway, so that does like follow the path that Bubba Starling, that people always saw in him. And I mean, if he could be that guy, if he could be 80% of the guy that they thought, of the ceiling, because like a wise man once said, nobody reaches their ceiling except for Mike Trout. But if he
said
could,
that?
You did.
I did?
Yeah.
When?
Do you remember? I don't know. Sometime in
man, I'm so smart.
Yeah. Sometimes I listen to you.
I have like just pearls of. I don't even remember all the smart.
I mean, that's just how it goes, man. When you got it, you got it.
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to be somebody less than Denard Span in left field.
I think so. I mean, they're in on him, but like.
And I like Span. I don't mean that.
Yeah,
like,
he's perfectly
less than
fine
garbage.
for like a 1 year, 2 year thing.
Yeah.
But like, he's not a. He's okay, and there's a ton of injury risk there. Like, I would think it's probably going to be like guys looking for a 1 year make good, like a Jackson, or maybe like a Snyder, or maybe a Span. I think Parra. There's going to be too much interest from other clubs. Like someone's going to offer Parra a 3-year deal. I don't know if that makes sense for the Royals. And their kind of feeling is at this point, it's like, okay, we know Eibner can defend, we know Starling can defend, we know Orlando can defend, we know. Dyson can defend. Okay, like those guys are free essentially, except for Dyson. Like, if they run those guys out there and they're in it in June or July, right? And they need a left fielder, they can go get a left fielder with their prospect base. If you sign Gerardo Parra to a 3-year deal and he's a pumpkin. And remember, Parra sucked with the Orioles in the second half. Like, had a great first half with Milwaukee and had like a, 650 OPS or something like that with the Orioles. Like, was garbage. It's like, okay, if you lock into a 3-year deal with him, well, you can't go get a left fielder, because how do you explain to your ownership that, oh yeah, I know we just signed this guy? It's like it's an Omar Infante situation
I was just
all
gonna
over
say
again.
that, right? Yeah.
So like. That's what they're bumping up against. Is they do not want to give out an Omar Infante contract, like a big albatross sort of thing. And I think they feel confident enough in their player development system that they can avoid that.
Yeah.
I say this just days after they signed Joakim Soria to a 3-year deal. Yeah. So, like, Lord knows.
Yeah. And it's Joakim.
It's Joakim?
Joakim Soria.
Joakim. I called him Joakim.
Yeah.
Joakim Noah.
Joakim Noah. Joakim Sawyer. It is confusing.
Joakim. Ned calls him Jack.
He does, yeah.
Jack.
Sometimes Jackie.
I don't know how we're going to use Jack.
How the? Never mind.
Yeah. Where is Brandon Finnegan? Probably in Fort Worth. Having a great time.
Yeah, he is.
You think he's listening to this?
He's not having as good a time as he did this time last year,
Oh,
though.
man. Oh, no.
This time last year, it was all there for Brandon Finnegan.
Yeah, that's all right. He'll be the big wheel at the Cracker Factory in Cincinnati. That's a line from The Simpsons. You ever see that one?
No.
With it was like Milhouse's dad, Kirk Van Houten. So like, yeah, I'm a big wheel down at the Cracker Factory.
Good for him.
He also slept in a race car.
Okay.
It's good. He got divorced and he was sleeping in his race car bed, and he showed it to Homer and said, "I sleep in a race car. What do you sleep in?" And Homer said, "I sleep in a big bed with my wife." I love The Simpsons, man. I hope that show comes back someday.
Maybe we should back out of this podcast.
We're doing great.
Are we?
I don't know. Whatever.
Anything else on your mind?
I watched the Chiefs yesterday. That was a great football game.
Wasn't that entertaining?
It was entertaining. I mean, the ending was entertaining. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, Phil Rivers has been in my life for a really long time.
He's been around forever.
Like, I think he played 4 years at NC State, right? Like, I remember watching him.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was 4, but yeah.
He started at least as a sophomore at NC State. Like,
beat a Mark Mangino team in his bowl game.
In the Insight Bowl, right?
Some sort of bad bowl game.
Yeah.
What year was that?
03.
It was a long time
So
ago.
I've been watching Phillip Rivers play football since like 2001.
Yeah.
I think, which is just weird to think about. Like, because like with Peyton Manning, it's like, well, yeah, he's like one of the all-time greats, and like Tom Brady is like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, probably the greatest. But like, I was just thinking, like, man, like Phil Rivers has just been around forever.
He really has,
and he's like always been like okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's always been terrific against the Chiefs. A lot. Like, he has killed the Chiefs some.
He scored 3 whole points yesterday.
Yeah. He played 8 quarters against the Chiefs and managed 0 touchdowns this year. I feel like there's a lot of that. Like, Kobe Bryant has been like, I think me and Kobe, he probably knows this, but I think me and Kobe were in the same high school class.
In 96?
He may have been a year ahead of me. Was he class of 96? 96 draft, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the good years.
Yeah.
And was he 96? Like high school class of 96?
For some reason,
he's been done for a while.
Yeah, for some reason, I think that Donovan's like way older than Kobe, but it makes sense because Kobe came right out of high school.
And football ages a man.
It does, man. 5 is really struggling. He needs to get some help. It's depressing. Now I'm bummed out. Is Therese coming in here to pump everyone up?
Yeah, I think he was outside.
Are they here right now?
Yeah.
Wow, all right.
So who do the Chiefs want to play in the first round?
Somebody from the AFC South.
Right.
That
They
would
play
be
the
great.
Jags. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Jags, Texans, Colts.
Man.
Garbage, and
That's
garbage.
good.
Although the Jags just scored 51.
Against who?
The Colts.
Who's on the they still got
Like,
Dwight Freeney?
And my favorite, like, they were up, it was like a 48-3 run that the Jags went on.
Oh my.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the Colts were up 13-3. I don't know this for sure, but I think teams that go on a 48-3 run in a game are undefeated in NFL history.
We should do a podcast where you guys talk about football and I just ask who's on the team.
There'd be like, do you ever watch Inside the NBA?
No.
They have this little segment called "Who He Play For," and they just ask like Charles Barkley, like just random NBA players who he played for, and he never gets them right. It's so good.
Among I'll leave them unnamed, but there's some writers who cover the Yankees who like to play a game when they go like to interleague, like say they go to San Diego, and you take the lineup card and you cover up the first name, and then you ask like the second name for like the Padres lineup or something like that, and it'd be like Jerko. It'd be like Jeff? You're like, nope, Jed. Ah, okay. Upton. Justin. Yep, got that. Okay. Ramirez. Well, that's not fair. Like, yeah. Venable. I have no idea.
If you bring that game to the Dodgers next year, you'll have an unfair advantage.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
well,
asking you like American League teams.
I'm trying to think if like there's good like the Padres are always good for it. The White Sox, man, like some of their guys like Carlos Sanchez, be like, never heard of this guy before. Like Tyler Saladino. Like, he's got 4 hits today. No idea who he is. I'm trying to think who else is good. Like really good for like having like the Rays. Loney. Is that James Loney? Yeah. Oh, good for him. Like, all right. He's still around.
He's still doing it.
Good. Yeah. There's too many athletes at this point.
James Loney had a weird sports science segment
Okay.
where like he tried to hit against a wiffle ball pitcher. Like it was like the, sort of the Pedro Martinez of wiffle ball pitchers. And like he just did not do well.
The Royals would be so
It's a good
angry
story.
talking to the Pedro Martinez of wiffle ball for his demands.
It's
for
a balk. Oh no, yeah.
For his contract demands.
He wants
This guy.
2
this
years,
guy wants-
$19 million?
This guy wants $5 million. Throws a wiffle ball. You can have him. That was Dayton Moore's quote when he was asked about the outfield market. These guys, you can have them. And then he like made a dismissive gesture. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, it is weird. Like, and Dayton is a good, maybe he's the personification of this, like the actual like baseball official. But like, I don't think that there are few things in the world that can turn you more into like the grumpy old man who talks about like what you used to be able to buy for a nickel more than like the price of baseball players. Like in my day, Ricky Henderson
Yeah.
got $2 million a year
dude,
and he was happy.
He just has sensibility. Like he knows what players are actually worth.
Yeah.
I guess. And so like even so the inflation of it drives him crazy. But like, and I remember there's a story like Terry Collins when he's still the Mets manager, but like in like 2011, I want to say he was in the suite at the winter meetings and he kicked himself out because they would sit down for trade proposals and like the other team would say like, well, we want David Wright. And they'd be like, okay, well, like, we'll trade you David Wright for like this sort of player. And they're like, no, David Wright's not worth that. And Terry would be like, are you kidding me? Like, Dave Wright's one of the best players in this league, and they'd be like, Terry, you need to like stop like trying to kill the Padres officials, So like, there is a certain sense of like, if you get what people are worth and like you get what actual value is, you just get flustered by like people who are on a completely different plane of existence.
And not to bring it up again because like Dayton probably already has this like in him, like this tendency, but like Dayton Moore with that horrendous TV contract is just going to amplify his like these guys you can have them sort of.
Well, you live in a
thing.
world where J Happ is worth $36 million.
Yeah,
like,
that's weird.
It's just like, okay, so now every pitcher should be worth $12 million a year because every pitcher on the market is better than J Happ. Like, I mean, so that's the sort of frustrating thing.
Remember, like Estrada, who was really good against the Royals in the playoffs, but he signs like it was 2 years, 25, I think, right, something like that. And I remember like looking at the contract, I was like, wow, that's pretty good. That's a pretty decent price. And then my next thought was like, why is that a good price for Marco Estrada, who's like 32 or 33?
And has had like one good year.
Yeah.
Yeah, J Happ had like 8 good starts with the Pirates.
Yeah.
In the National League. Now he's going back to the American League.
Yeah.
But
It'll be fun.
You got to trust Alex Anthopoulos, who did not make that contract because he is not the GM. And I realized that as I was saying that sentence. Doing great here. Really looking forward to going on vacation in a couple days.
All right. I think now we back out.
Yeah, we're done.
All right.
This was fun.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe we'll do it again, but
We might.
we'll see.
Yeah,
one
we
more.
just- we
We'll have
can-
an exit interview.
An exit interview? That'd be good. We have Vahe.
You can finally vent all the crap that you've been wanting to talk on Vahe.
God, what a miserable human he is. Hope the listeners can sense it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
stuff,
another
guys.
successful episode of the Sports Beat KC.
Have a good one.
All right.